You ever feel like a game is reading your mind, or that an app just knows what you want before you do? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on the science that makes that feeling real and explore how that very same technology could be on the verge of reshaping our entire digital world. See, at the heart of so much modern tech, especially gaming, is one simple goal: capture your attention. But this isn't just about cool graphics or a good story anymore. Oh no, it's become a science, a really precise one that aims to understand and predict your every single move.
Look at this spike here. That's exactly where we want to heighten the tension.
Yes, we can tweak the sound design there.
And to get that prediction right, designers are going straight to the source. They're not asking what we think we like anymore. Why would they? Instead, they're directly measuring our biological responses to see what we truly feel. A researcher named Chloe calls this the unedited story, a raw, unfiltered emotional reactions. So how in the world are they writing this unedited story? Well, it means moving beyond our words and tapping directly into our biology. And for players like Aiden, the result of all this science is intense. It creates this powerful compulsion where that just one more quest doesn't feel like a fun choice. It feels more like a manufactured need, a hunger that was put there on purpose. I mean, look at this. This is a huge shift in how feedback even works. We've gone from the old way, asking people what they liked after the fact with surveys and focus groups, to this new method of measuring their biological reactions as they're happening, in real time. It's objective.
As you can see, the data indicates a significant peak in engagement at this precise moment.
So a couple of key tools make this all possible. First, you've got eye tracking, which does exactly what it sounds like. It follows your gaze to see what's grabbing your attention. And second, there's galvanic skin response, or GSR. That's a fancy way of saying it measures tiny changes in your sweat levels to see when you're getting excited or frustrated. And this is where it gets really clever. These tools can be used to map out something called a frustration loop. They can pinpoint the exact moment your frustration peaks, predict where your eyes are going to look for an easy way out, and then, boom, serve you up a paid shortcut. They turn a moment of struggle into a moment of spending. Okay, so those individual moments are incredibly powerful, but how do they build that into a whole system of persuasion? Well, that's where we get into what you could call the blueprints of desire. To build these blueprints, developers are using these really well-established psychological hooks. You've definitely seen them. The slot machine thrill of a loot box, that's a variable reward schedule. Or how about when a progress bar is already a little bit full when you start? That's the endowed progress effect, and it makes you way more likely to finish. And the real goal here, as neuroscientist Dr. Lena Varga puts it, is to just completely bypass our rational brain. The target is the limbic system. That's our emotional, impulsive core. They want to make us want something, because wanting is primal, and it's so much more powerful than just thinking about something strategically. But, and this is a big but, when a system gets this good at driving our behavior, you have to start asking some pretty serious questions about where it's all going. For some veteran game designers like Mark, it's created a real crisis. The art of making something fun is now clashing with the business of engineering a revenue engine. It's turning games into what he calls a slot machine with a narrative skin. Which brings us to this really critical question. In a world where our attention is the product and our data is the currency being harvested, what's the real cost here? Beyond just the dollars and cents. And the result can be this weird paradox of perfect, addictive inefficiency, right? We've optimized every single click for maximum engagement, but 1 trillion of those perfect clicks can still add up to a totally broken and meaningless experience. The system works, but the context is gone. So what if we could build something different? What if there's a new model out there, a new blueprint for technology that moves beyond just extracting our attention? Well, that's the idea behind something called the fifth wave. The very first principle is something called symbiotic intelligence. And the idea here is that technology shouldn't just be a tool that we use, but it should actually be an extension of our senses, almost like a new way of seeing the invisible connections all around us. So instead of AI that thinks for us, this is about augmented context that helps us think with the system. Technology becomes this new sensory organ that helps us finally perceive the long-term consequences of our actions and see all the hidden relationships we'd normally miss. And this main idea is backed up by some other really powerful principles, like value and context, which means success isn't just profit, it's the health of the whole system. Or protocol-based trust, where ethics are literally built into the code, not just promised in the terms of service. The whole goal is to create systems that don't just sustain themselves, but actually make things better over time. Ultimately, what we're talking about is a fundamental change in the entire purpose of these systems, moving away from just hunting for clicks to doing something much more profound. We go from being hunters of attention to becoming revealers of connection. Instead of just gardening our desires, the system becomes a nurturer of wisdom. The whole thing changes, from a customer journey designed to extract value to a stewardship loop designed to create meaning. As Dr. Varga says, the new goal isn't to extract value from us anymore. The goal is to build a system that can compose meaning with us. And that really leaves us with a final big thought. Maybe the next great leap in technology isn't actually about better code or faster chips. Maybe it's about building a better, healthier, and way more meaningful relationship with our tools, and through them, with each other.
Neuroscience provides unique insights into player engagement.
Understanding these patterns can revolutionize game design.
Game the brain. Win more players. If you're a game maker, you need to hack attention. If you're a marketer, you need to predict choices. For impact, start with the brain. Neuromarketing gives you play-by-play of attention, where players look, emotion, what they feel, reward, what motivates them. Use micro-interactions to trigger dopamine loops. Use sound cues to trigger dopamine loops. Use timing to trigger dopamine loops. Smart design, not manipulation. For gaming, stickier loops, happier players. For marketing, messages that land. Want higher engagement? Design for the brain, not the eyeballs.
Neuromarketing in gaming helps developers understand player engagement, emotional responses, and decision-making